Welcome to the Strategic Privacy by Design instructional video. During this video, I'll show you how to set up the game for two players. In the game, each player represents a company department, vendor, or other party. Your goal is to design a new product in a privacy-friendly way. The game consists of 4 cards: information cards, violation cards, consequence cards, and tactic cards. Ultimately, you're trying to avoid consequences by using the tactics to protect information and prevent violations. To set up the hand, the dealer deals 10 information cards into the community hand. The first information card dealt to the community hand is account information. Account information represents things like bank account numbers, credit card numbers, and other forms of financial account numbers. Account information is part of the financial group of information cards, which have a green border which says financial around the edges. The next information card is authenticating information. Authenticating information is part of the internal group of information cards. All internal information cards have a red border. You'll notice that authenticating information card says draw a violation if found with account information. This is because authenticating information combined with account information represents a risky combination of information to have. It's like having a bank account number with the password to access that bank account. So we're going to draw a violation and associate it with authenticating information. Our next information card is criminal information. This says it's risky with ethnicity information, but we don't have that card, so we don't need to draw a violation. You'll also see it's sensitive. This usually means that under some law or regulation, it warrants extra protection, usually because of some historical misuse or abuse. Our next card is ownership information, which is risky with credit information, again, which we don't have. Our next card is ethnicity information. This is risky with professional information, which we don't have. But remember, we have criminal information, which is risky with ethnicity information, which we now have in the community hand. We have to draw a violation and associate it with criminal information. We draw the interrogation violation, which is a form of information collection. You notice that the interrogation violation says double the consequences when found with any social information card, of which criminal information belongs. You can think of it like this. Imagine a job candidate being asked or interrogated about their past arrests. Their answer or non-answer may result in them being denied a job, a greater consequence to them than any other potential privacy violations. Our next information card is preference information, which is risky with demographic information, again, which we don't have. Our next card is public life, which is risky with knowledge and belief, which we don't have. Notice we've covered up the cards that already have risky combination, so we need only compare the uncovered cards to see if they are risky with public life. Our next information card is identifying information. These are things like national identifiers, names, and even unique internal identifiers. This information card is risky with any sensitive information, and since we have sensitive information, we draw a violation. Here the violation is decisional interference. Our next information card is transactional information, risky with medical and health, which we don't have, nor do we have any cards risky with transactional. Our final card in the community hand is physical characteristics, which is risky with authenticating, which we do have, so we'll draw another violation. Our violation is disclosure. You'll see here at this point there are 4 different colors of violations representing 4 different categories. Green is information collection, purple is information processing, burgundy is information dissemination. Finally, blue cards are not information privacy violations, but privacy violations nonetheless. They represent invasions. You'll notice the 4 violation cards we've drawn all are different colors. Each color represents a different category of privacy violation. The purple cards are information processing violations. The green cards are information collection violations. The burgundy cards are information dissemination violations. And finally, the blue cards are invasions. We want to try to avoid violation because ultimately, once we release our product, those violations end up earning consequence cards, and consequence cards are to be avoided. Now, normally, each violation will earn one consequence card, but certain violations, when combined with certain information, end up earning two consequence cards. For instance, our interrogation violation here in green, you'll notice, earns double consequences if found with any social information. Social information being the purple information card, like criminal here. So you can think about this as being interrogated or asked about your criminal history or your criminal behavior, something that might earn double consequences. Now, in addition, you'll see that criminal information is sensitive. So any points that come up on the consequence cards end up doubled. So this is a violation that we really want to focus on getting rid of. Getting rid of that interrogation because it ends double consequences and double points because of the sensitive information it's attached to. Now that we've dealt the community hand, it's time to deal player one's hand. The first card is social network, which is risky with sexual information, which we don't have. Our second card is communication information, which is risky when found with social network, which we do have in player one's hand. So we'll have to draw a violation and associate it with communication information. Our third information card is computer device, which is risky with location information, which we don't have. And our fourth and final information card for player one is history information, which is risky with any other personal information, which of course we have both in the player's hand and community hand. So we'll draw a violation for that card as well. Now it's time to deal player two's hand. The first card is knowledge and belief, which is risky with behavioral, which we don't have. The second card is family information, which is risky with physical characteristics. Since physical characteristics is in the community hand, which is part of player two's hand, we deal a violation to player two. The third information card is contact information, which is risky with communication information, which we don't have. Even though that's in player one's hand, it is not accessible to player two, therefore we don't have to draw a violation. The fourth and final card is non-personal information. So we automatically draw a privacy violation here. Not all privacy violations stem from personal information. Here we draw the intrusion card. You can think about this as somebody calling you in the middle of your dinner, trying to sell you something. They don't need to use personal information to intrude into your personal family space by calling you while you're trying to have dinner. They could randomly be calling phone numbers. We now deal the tactic cards. Each player gets 3 tactic cards face down. So deal those first to player 1, then to player 2. In addition, 2 tactic cards are placed face up in the tactic bank. These tactics are available to each player should they choose to use them. It's player 1's turn to go first. Player 1 is going to play the strip tactic. Strip information by discarding 1 information card. They have chosen to strip the ethnicity information card because the ethnicity card is risky when found with criminal. By stripping the ethnicity card, the criminal no longer has this risky combination, and therefore player 1 can remove the violation card as well. Now this helps player 1, but it also helps player 2 because all community violations belong to all players. It's now player 2's turn. Player 2 plays the distribute tactic. Distribute information by giving each other player one community information card. Player 2 had decided to distribute physical characteristics to player 1. Now notice physical characteristics is risky when found with authenticating, which is in the community hand. Because player 1 still has access to the community card, the violation that was associated with physical characteristics follows that card. Now you'll also notice that now that physical characteristics is gone, player 2's family information card, which had a risky combination associated with physical characteristics, is no longer risky. Therefore, player 2 can now get rid of their violation associated with family cards. So not only have they given a violation to player 1, but they've gotten rid of one of their violations as well. It's now player 2's turn again. Player 2 is going to exchange one of their tactics with one in the tactic banks. So they could choose uphold your commitment to privacy, discard 2 information cards in their hand, or they could choose exclude information by discarding 2 information cards. Now you notice the uphold is restricted to the player's hand, whereas exclude includes any information card in the player's hand or the community hand. This is the one they'll play. The first card they discard is social network. And because social network was a risky combination with communication, and there was a violation associated with this, now they can get rid of that violation. In addition, the second information card they're going to discard is account information. Because this was a risky combination with authenticating, they're now able to remove the secondary use violation from authenticating. Now you notice this sets them up because now that authenticating is free of a violation, they're free to remove that in the next round in order to remove the violation associated with physical characteristics in their hand. Player 2 will now play the log tactic. Logging reveals another player has more information. Draw one information card and give to another player. Player 2 then draws the location card and gives it to player 1. Notice that since location is risky with ownership, we draw a violation for that card. And because computer device, which is in player 1's hand, is risky with location, we draw a violation for that card as well. Player 1 now plays the summarize card. Summarize information by discarding 2 information cards that form a risky combination. Player 1 is going to get rid of ownership and location because ownership and location form a risky combination. And by getting rid of those, they're also able to get rid of the exposure card. Now that player 1 has gotten rid of location, location was risky when found with computer device, so now we can also remove the violation associated with computer device. Player 2 is now going to play their final card. Choose. Allow an information to choose information to give you, discard an information collection violation. But there is no information collection violation that they can play against. Additionally, they could exchange with the tactic bank, but neither of those cards are playable as well. One would allow them to remove information cards from their hand, which they could do, but it wouldn't do any good because they still wouldn't be able to get rid of the violation on non-personal. The other card would allow them to remove one information card, But because the violation of community hand is based on sensitive information, and there are multiple sensitive information cards, they would not be able to remove enough to get rid of that violation. Now that all the tactics have been played, it's time to determine the score. Because none of the violations are a result of specific information that would earn 2 consequences, each violation card earns 1 consequence card. Because there's 1 violation in the community hand, each player earns a consequence card for that violation. As you can see, player 1 earns 1 point, 4 point, and 1 point respectively for a total of 6. Player 2 earns 5 points and 1 point. But wait, if you notice on the psychological consequence card, it says 10 points if a result of decisional interference. Because this consequence card was a result of the decisional interference violation in the community hand, it's worth 10 points, which now means player 2 had 11 points, making them the loser for this hand, and player 1 the winner.